and welcome to Feels Like Magic, the podcast where you will get the grounded self-development wisdom you might need to feel amazing about the person you authentically are. I'm Jo, a transformational coach, speaker, and author, and for decades I was so stuck in self-criticism that I never thought I would feel good about being me. Now I inhabit a new reality, one where I care way less about what other people think. I'm willing to show up as the person that I am, and I deepen into self-love and acceptance every single day. Honestly, it feels like magic. Each week, I'll share scientifically proven tools, things I've learned from the world's best coaches, and personal stories I know you'll relate to. Ready? Let's dive in. Hello, my love. Hello. This is a special pre-intro for those of you who are still listening on audio with my beautiful podcast. I see you. You've been here since the beginning. I know that now some people watch it on YouTube, and both are so gorgeous. But I wanted to make a little request, actually. And sometimes asking for what you need can be incredibly uncomfortable. So I'm going to do it. This podcast is 1 year old today. And when I think about that, it's just amazing to me because I published episodes, from a hotel room in Spain, from my new apartment in Lisbon, from a flat in Scotland. You've been with me along this journey in my personal life for an entire year. And that is a very special thing. And there are some incredible episodes that you can go back to and you can continue to visit. You can share with friends. Specifically, I think the meditations have been really, really popular. So there's one for anxiety, one for infinite power. There's one to tune into love. And then some deeper episodes on things that, maybe weigh on you. Like, how do I work with this part of myself that really feels in fear and doubt? So there's so much here that will continue to live on in this body of work that you can continue to use, come back to, recommend. Nothing's going away. And I have made a decision to stop the podcast in its current form. So Feels Like Magic is my first evolution in terms of self-development. It really did feel like magic when I first stepped into this work. And in fact, I had a voice note yesterday from a client who has spent the last 2 years in this work to various different degrees with me and was just marveling at the effect that it has had on her life, but also on her body. There's so much that we shift when we get to start to work with body and mind. And I've evolved. I have evolved personally as a leader, as a coach, as a human. I have really stepped up and into my power, and this feels like a new era for me. This year has felt like a slow unraveling of all of the pieces of me that have been holding me back still, so that I could rise, so that I could get to my next level. And so I'm going to be changing the podcast. It is going to come back in a slightly different form. And in order for that to happen, what I wanted to do is give myself some space because I deserve it. I deserve time to really think about what it is that I can bring you that is going to be valuable. And I'm going to take that time and I'm going to rest and I'm going to create and I'm going to come into my new era with something that I believe will be incredibly potent. So in the meantime, my love, I have a request for you. If you have listened since the beginning, or if you have just listened to this one particular episode, I would love to know if it has made a difference to you. I would love to know if there have been moments, insights, breakthroughs, things that have happened to you as a result of the podcast, maybe tools and techniques that I talk about that you still use in your life, or if you just generally like it and you want to share that with me, I would love that too. This is actually a personal practice of mine. So I always write to people when things have been valuable for me. And so I suppose what I'm creating here is the uncomfortable ask of, I would also like that. I would like to know if it has shaped your life. I would like to know if it has made change for you. And I would like to know also if you have any suggestions, if there are things that you're just confused about, or you want to know about, or you'd like to just hear more about, you can also tell me that. So the way that this would work is you can email me. I'm Jo at withjobell.com. This will be in the show notes, so you can go there to find it as well. But Jo at withjobell.com, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at withjobell. And you may have noticed, some of you as well, that I actually shifted from Joanne, which is my full name, into Jo. A couple of months ago, I shifted everything over in my business. And the reason for that was I felt like there was a part of my authentic self that I wasn't quite letting breathe in the business. I wasn't quite bringing to the fore. I wasn't quite owning. And Jo just sounds so much more like me, so much more like me. So that is my request. I would love to hear from you. And today's episode is a really juicy one. A really juicy one. So if you are at a stage where you are starting to kind of just feel like there has to be more, there has to be more than the way that I'm currently living, I would love for you to listen to it. And again, love to know your takeaways, your breakthroughs, your ahas, anything that is here. Until I see you again, I'm sending you so much love. Take really good care of yourself. And remember that you are powerful, magical, and capable of so many things. Okay, now all that said, let's dive in to this week's episode. Hello, beautiful human. Today, we are going to dive into the reason why you are settling. And this can be settling in any area of your life. Very often when we have this pattern, it runs over lots of different things. And there might be something right now that's really, really up for you. Maybe you're you're settling in your career. You're not going for more. And there's a part of you that really, really wants to. Maybe you're settling in relationship. You know that the person that you're with isn't treating you the way you want to be treated. And yet you're not speaking up about it and you're keeping it all inside. Maybe you're settling in your life. You have all of these big dreams, but you're not actually taking action to make any of them happen. I understand because I have been there. And today, what I want to just give you is a little infusion of the background to why this may be. Now, you know you. I am just here to offer some beautiful invitations for self-inquiry. How do you even know that you're settling? How do you actually know that you are settling for something that is less than what you actually desire? And I think this is a really important thing to bring in at the moment, because sometimes we can, be on social media and be thinking all of these things about other people and looking at other people's lives. And actually, we can feel really content in our own lives. But that trigger of comparison can take us into maybe reaching for something that isn't authentic and true for us. So this piece, I want you to pay attention to first of all. When it comes to your life, you are the one that is in charge, nobody else. Yes, coaches can guide you. Yes, you can get incredible support. Yes, you can do deep healing work. Yes, all of that for sure. Yes, you can have beautiful relationships and friends and support systems. But you, my love, are the one that knows. You know the feeling in your gut. You know when something feels off. You know when there are red flags that you're ignoring. You know when you're not quite right. You know when something doesn't feel exciting anymore. You know all of that. And sometimes the hardest thing can be to be in a space where those things are really up and the career isn't working anymore and the relationship isn't working. And maybe the city you live in isn't even working. And so you might want to make major change. That can be a really hard place to be in, because you need to believe in yourself enough and believe that you can make a way in order to make those changes. And you absolutely can. But I feel it. And I just want to put that on the table. Nobody escapes this. Nobody has a life where everything is fine all the time and they never need to step up and actually take control. Nobody is not crying on the bathroom floor at some point in life, right? We're all part of this delicious human condition. So I want you to think and get honest with yourself. You're the only person you're accountable to about where you're settling. where you're maybe going for the lowest hanging fruit, maybe where you're doing the job that actually is killing your spirit because you reason that it has a pension and that you should be happy and it should be enough and there are people who are starving and you should be grateful and all of that stuff, that shame cycle that can come in. I want you to get really honest. Where in my life am I settling? I imagine if you're this far in, you probably already know. You probably already know that there's something, somewhere, some area of life in which you are settling for less. So many of us do this, even though we live in an infinite, abundant world. And I want to make a distinction for you. So often in life, we can be looking for external things to make us happy, to make us fulfilled. When I get the job, when I get the career, when I get the relationship, then I will feel X. That is not the game I advocate playing. I find myself in it all the time and then I come back and recenter. So we're not looking for external things to make us happy. Happiness, abundance, joy, all of the things exist within us always. And there is a level of work that can really be supportive in accessing that. So this is the distinction that I want to make. I'm not talking about going after things because you think you need them in order to prove something or in order to get happiness. What I'm talking about when I'm talking about settling is that really uncomfortable feeling when you know you've copped out on yourself, when you know that you haven't spoken up, when you know that you let that job offer or that promotion go by because you didn't actually find it within yourself to step forward and advocate for yourself. That is what I'm talking about. So this is not about going after things in order for them to complete us at all. It is about being whole and complete and then creating a life we actually deserve and desire from that place. So I really want you to let that land. There is a distinction and it is incredibly important, and something that I have personally stepped into quite a long time ago and that I encourage clients to do as well is to just come back to this piece around I'm good without the external things. And I get to see what I'm capable of. I get to reach my potential. And if you're watching this video still, there's a part of you that is resonating with that message. There's a part of you that knows that in some areas or maybe many areas of your life, you do settle. You don't speak up. You don't go after the thing that actually is so on your heart because you're so worried about what other people are going to think of you. There's so many reasons why we do this. And it blocks our aliveness. It means that we always feel limited and restricted. And also it has a really damaging effect on our self-esteem. So the first part of this is I want you to get so honest with yourself. Radical honesty, no judgment, all compassion. Where in my life am I settling? Where am I not stepping up? Where am I actually out of the game? Where am I letting someone else play instead of being a participant? Get really, really honest with yourself, and no one can tell you this except you. You're the only person that can truly know where you are settling in your life. But think about that distinction. It's not about looking for something to make you feel complete. It's about actually stepping up for yourself and realizing your potential. And quite often when we have this pattern, it appears in multiple different places. And settling can be something as simple, we think, as eating food that you actually don't like because it's cold or it's not nice and not speaking up about it, right? That's an opportunity to practice the muscle of not settling, to practice the muscle of something else. And so why do so many of us not do that? Why is it that when somebody else speaks up in a restaurant, we cringe? It's because of this. A part of you does not believe that you are worthy. Not all of you, But a part of you is not fully on board with the idea that you're actually worthy and deserving of anything you want. A part of you is telling a story that you are bad, you're wrong, that the things you've done have made some kind of person that is not worthy of love, that the way other people treated you in life means that you're not worthy and deserving of love. A part of you is not fully on board with the idea that you're actually worthy of exactly what you want and you're worthy of all the abundance in the world. And so why does this happen? Well, we come into this world and we feel so worthy and so deserving. We're pure. We're pure. A little like my dog, right? My dog does not question if she deserves her time in the park. She doesn't question that. She's just like, yes, this is life. Let's go. But we come into this world like that, kicking and screaming and just wanting our needs met. And then things happen to us. Things happen. People call us names, and we make those names mean something about us. We take that inside, we internalize it. And then we act in response to that. Now, this, again, all subconscious. We are so beautiful and complex. So I want you to just open up a little bit here if you're in resistance to this, to just be like, can I be open to this idea? Can I be open there's something under the surface that I'm maybe not seeing? It is scientifically proven that 96% of our behavior at least is subconscious. And that subconscious piece is so informed by our conditioning, the way that we grew up, the things that happened in our lives, and who we decided that we needed to be in order to be here. So think about when you came into the world, how quickly were conditions put on you? How quickly were you told, don't be angry, you have a temper, go and sit down, be quiet. You need to dress like this. You need to make sure you're like them. How quickly was that message ingrained in you? Really fast, I imagine. This is not about blame, but it is about acknowledging the conditioning that we have and how it's held us back. So if you think about, okay, if I came in like fully certain of my worth, what happened between then and now? What are the things, the events, the people that I can remember, and sometimes we can't remember, and that's okay too, that made me question my worth? What patterns am I in? What patterns do I know I'm in that are not reflective of someone who is fully worthy and deserving of what she wants? That does not feel fully worthy and deserving of the thing that it is that you have that feeling in your body about. Doesn't feel fully worthy and deserving of someone who shows up consistently and gives you consistent love, and therefore you go after someone who doesn't feel fully worthy and deserving of the promotion, so you sit there and you let the person next to you get it. Doesn't feel fully worthy and deserving of packing up everything and moving countries, even though like your whole body is saying yes. And so when you're in this place, I want you to think about the actual action that you're taking. Not the thing that you're saying to yourself, not the number of Instagram quotes that you're putting a heart on, but the actual action that you're taking. And ask yourself, is this action the action of someone who knows that she is fully worthy and fully deserving of love, of abundance, and of whatever her heart desires? And if the answer is no, then this is where we need to go. And this showed up for me so much with dating. So much with dating, because I had such a wound around not being chosen, being invisible, nobody really wanting me, feeling like I was never going to be desired by a man. And so when I did start dating, I did it in a way where I was really either pushing people away who were consistent, or accepting breadcrumbs from people who were really inconsistent and attaching myself to them and telling stories about them and being like, one day, I'm going to change this person or this person's going to show up for me, and making that mean something about me instead of where I am now, which is I don't want crumbs. I'm not available for crumbs. You can take your crumbs and you can go somewhere else with them. I would like a whole cake, and I would like that cake to be the most delicious cake I've ever eaten. And I'm ready for that. How did I get there? I did the work, and specifically, my love, I did the inner child work. And this is where we need to go deeper. We can't fix this just with mindset. And it's not about fixing, but we cannot get to where we want to go. We can't improve and develop and grow as humans just with mindset. Because mindset leaves out everything that happened in the past. Mindset leaves out the thing that you're carrying from 4 years old, from 10 years old, from 14 years old. The moment that you held up a drawing that you were super, super proud of and nobody looked at it, and you made that mean something about you. The moment that all of a sudden your friends at school decided not to be your friends anymore, and you made that mean something about you. That is why until we do the deeper work, the inner child work specifically, everything else is just a sticking plaster. Everything else is just a sticking plaster. And so I really want you to let this land and again, start to inquire. Just get really curious with yourself. The energy of healing and the energy of transformation is curiosity. Because when we go in with, why am I like this? And why do I do this? That's just judgment. So the opening energy, the opening towards our self energy and the opening towards this work energy is the energy of curiosity. How can I get curious about what is showing up for me in the beliefs that I'm carrying and how they're blocking me from really feeling like I'm worthy? And where do I see this play out the most? Is it in my relationships? Is it in my career? Okay. And then why is that area in particular an area? And again, you don't have to have solid answers, but you want to start to inquire. Why is that area in particular an area in which I may doubt my worth the most? Okay. Well, I was told when I was young that I had to, achieve things, or I had to become a doctor, or I had to be really successful. And even if I wasn't directly told, the messaging I got from my family and from society was that. So there's that piece too, as humans and particularly as children, we pick up on so much that is not directly said. And then we contort ourselves and behave in different ways so that we can fit in. And this also goes with the nervous system. We have our 4 nervous system responses: fight, freeze, and appease. Once we come into the world, something happens as a threat, one of those conditioned responses develops as our primary response. So mine is freeze. My secondary response is appease. Freezing means that I am not going for things as quickly as I potentially could do. So I'm just adding this in to give you a little more context. I want to keep it super simple, and I want you to know that there are deeper layers that come in the inner child work, and that our nervous system also plays a role. And it will specifically play a role when you start to take new action. So you're thinking about, right, where in my life am I settling? Am I willing, first of all, to get radically honest about that? Because not everyone is. Am I willing to look myself in the face and know this is where I am settling for less than I deserve? This is where I'm settling and showing myself that I'm not truly worthy, because that's really what you're saying to your subconscious when you settle. Get really radically clear on that, right? Then we have to go in with compassion. A part of me does not feel that I am truly worthy of the thing that I desire. If it did, I would be acting differently. And again, just start to own it. We cannot disown that which we have never owned. So we need to start owning a part of me does not believe that I'm worthy of this. And that's why I'm behaving in this way. Curiosity. Why? Why does that part believe that? This is where deeper work can truly, truly support you and transform your life, because you're able to dive in a lot deeper, a lot deeper. So getting really curious, getting really clear, and not selling out on yourself and not selling out on your vision and not telling yourself that you can't do something because you haven't done it yet. And not making your age or your gender or your race or whatever the other thing is an excuse. Getting really, really, really aligned with, if I was worthy and deserving and I absolutely knew that, then what is the action I would be taking? How would I be showing up? What would I not tolerate anymore? What would I just not be available for at all anymore? And then what's going to happen is there's going to be discomfort in your nervous system. Because if you have been tolerating people speaking to you in a certain way and now it's a no, you need to communicate that. That's going to set off an activation in your nervous system. Energy is going to be moving. Your fight response, your flight response. Put simply, your body might shake. Your breath might be a lot faster. You might feel like your eyes are kind of all over the place. So many things, signals that our body sends us. And then what I want you to do is to just be like, this is my nervous system responding. This is completely normal. And it's because I am now a stand for my worth. And when you have all of that, you thought all about these things, right? And you're really clear about where you're settling. I want you to think about the new action and take it. And then it's a rinse and repeat. You got to keep on showing up. It's not a one and done. There can be beautifully transformative breakthrough moments. There can be that moment where you finally stand up and say something to somebody. And then what will inevitably happen if you don't keep doing that is you will go back to default. You've shown your body, you've shown your subconscious a new way, but unless you keep on showing up to that, then we go back to default. So I really just want to reassure you that this is absolutely possible and it is a practice. And that is why having a coach in your corner, having support in your corner, having someone who's got you and can hold you accountable to your worth is the most transformative thing. Now, that does not have to be done forever. But for the period of time where you're deciding, this is my life, each day of my life is worth fighting for. Each day of my life, I want to know what I'm capable of. I know there's more and I'm ready to access it. And having someone that can support you for a period of time to repattern the way you've been doing things from default, from the wounded you, from when you were a 4-year-old kid, that is where real transformation happens. It's where real transformation happens. This is the work we do in my world, and this is the work you deserve. It is the work you deserve, because you can have anything that you want in life, and the real thing that I want you to let land is it's not enough to claim it. It's not enough to say, oh, I would love to make £1 million and then not show up to that at all. And that's what so many of us do, right? And me included. I would love to have this. Coming from the space, most likely, a lot of the time, of I need this so that I feel happy. So bringing myself back into, okay, it's not about going after this so that I show myself I'm worthy. It's knowing I'm worthy and deserving enough to have anything I desire. That is the game that we are playing. I would love to know your takeaways from this. I would love for you to just declare where you're settling. Even that declaration is a huge permission slip to do something different. Don't hold it in. Do not hold it in. Come and be witnessed. And then I want you to think about, how am I going to show myself that I'm worthy? How am I going to bet on myself? How am I going to do things differently? What support do I want to call in to make sure I can do things differently? Because we're not supposed to do this alone. What am I going to take control of for me so that in this lifetime, I have the experience of knowing that I'm fully worthy and deserving. This is such a beautiful conversation to have with yourself. And if you were going to do it, then I am already so proud of you. Drop your takeaways in and just know, keep on telling yourself, our brains learn through repetition, that you are worthy and deserving. That nobody else gets to decide your worth but you. And that nobody can take it away from you because it just exists. Thank you so much for being here and being you. If you're ready to dive deeper on your self-development journey, visit joannebell.org, where you can sign up to get even more magic, access incredible bonuses, and find out more about working with me.